yeah. Yeah. Who decided 25 was the deadline for turning panic into progress? I stare at the blue halo on my laptop screen as a half-written beat loops endlessly. My thoughts tangle in the low end, wondering if I ever had a real vision. Maybe I am just chasing the phantom feeling of somebody else's applause. The bass shakes the lukewarm water in my glass while the hours blur together. My mind keeps drifting back to every promise I made my mother back in April. I swore I would own a piece of something solid before my youth slipped away. Now I am counting change for a late ride home, praying the driver stays quiet. I sold my winter coat to pay for 3 hours studio time down on Mercer Street. Trace the steering wheel while cold rain pours over the cracked concrete. If every dream comes with a price tag, I wonder when the installment payments end. We trade our golden years for platinum dreams and hope the broken pieces start to mend. The city lights glow crimson through the fog as the late night shadows softly bleed. I saw my old roommate posted a picture buying a townhouse out in the suburbs. His button-down shirt looked tight, but his mind was settled and clear. Meanwhile, I am sitting in a bedroom that smells like cheap takeout and warm copper wire, trying to figure out if total freedom is real or just a fancy name for being broke. A rush of doubt washes through my chest, asking if I skipped my stop years back. My mind keeps drifting back to every promise I made my mother back in April. I swore I would own a piece of something solid before my youth slipped away. Now I am counting change for a late ride home, praying the driver stays quiet. I sold my winter coat to pay for 3 hours of studio time down on Mercer Street. My fingers trace the steering wheel while cold rain pours over the cracked concrete. If every dream comes with a price tag, I wonder when the installment payments end. We trade our golden years for platinum dreams and hope the broken pieces start to mend. The city lights glow crimson through the fog as the late night shadows softly bleed. Maybe the doubt is just high octane fuel burning inside a quiet chest. We preach about making history in the backseat of cabs while the world slumbers. Nobody really knows if the gamble pays off until the bright house lights turn off. So I hit the red button one more time and let the room fill up with sound. The chord progression fades into silence while street lights cut through the blinds, still swimming in unanswered questions that nobody knows how to solve. Just me, the low hum of the speakers, and another unreleased file saved on the drive. Stillness in the studio fractures when the sudden panic tells me we might fail. I watch the LED level meters bounce, green light reflecting off your thumb ring. You lean against the phone line, soundproof door, holding 2 cold cans of zero sugar soda. We spent our last $40 on sample packs, chasing a sound that could change next year. The bass and hums low through the floorboards, vibrating up into our worn sneakers. If we do not fix this hook before midnight, We go back to working shifts at the warehouse. We trace the blueprint on a scratch glass table and trade quiet safety for a skyline golden. Knowing every gamble leaves a permanent label, while you stays dangerous and never frozen. You tap the pedal, let the heavy bass descend. And every doubt we carried finally meets its end. Rain strikes the basement window near the pavement. Your phone screen lights up with a missed call from home. They want to know when we're getting real jobs or moving back across the river. You just turn the monitor speakers higher, drowning out the clock ticking on the desk. The vocal track cuts clean through the kick drum, filling the small room with everything we feel. If we do not fix this hook before midnight, we go back to working shifts at the warehouse. We trace the blueprint on a scratch glass table and trade quiet safety for a skyline golden. Knowing every gamble leaves a permanent label, while you stays dangerous and never frozen. You tap the pedal, let the heavy bass descend. And every doubt we carried finally meets its end. The blue ambient street lights cut through the blinds. You pull up the main fader with a steady hand, and the final vocal take hits every note clean. We stand together in the dim monitor glow, knowing we do not need a backup plan tonight. The track ends on a lingering synth chord. Headphones rest beside a mixing console. We step outside on the damp city concrete, breathing in the cold air of 24. Stale peppermint tea in one plastic float through the gap in the fourth floor window pane. Maya loops the vocal chop till her fingers ache, counting every beat against the city rain. Her headphones leak a sub-bass glow. She forgets to check the clock below. 2 missed calls from her older sister sitting on the screen. She trades her rent for a refurbished mic and a glowing dream. Nobody promised the path would yield a gold record clean. She saves the raw bounce before the power trips, tracing every vocal curve with trembling fingertips. The city sleeps below while her vision takes its final shape, trading midnight silence for a beat that lets her soul escape. She clears the board and leaves the studio door unlatched. Her landlord leaves a yellow note taped to the door, mentioning the late night bass rattling through the floor. Maya brews another cup and pulls her jacket tight, staring at the wave lines glowing sharp and blue-white. She knows the odds are thin as tracing paper in the wind. 2 missed calls from her older sister sitting on the screen. She trades her rent for a refurbished mic and a glowing dream. Nobody promised the path would yield the gold record clean. She saves the raw bounce before the power trips, tracing every vocal curve with trembling fingertips. The city sleeps below while her vision takes its final shape, trading midnight silence for a beat that lets her soul escape. She clears the board and leaves the studio door unlatched. When 5 o'clock hits the tower, she uploads a master file, walks out to the fire escape to breathe a single mile. Her eyes are heavy but her pulse is running clear and strong, knowing that the world is about to hear her favorite song. The red light on the preamp slowly fades to black. She takes a warm coat down from the metal rack. 4 stops on the train until her morning shift begins. She smiles quietly, knowing where the real work ends. Yeah. The tuned exhaust roars down the lower block, vibrating through the floorboards while you sit. You stare at demo files marked 23 and tell me that you lost your spark for it. You pull your hoodie down across your forehead, unsure if staying here is worth the rent. We traded sleep for beats that didn't sell. We drank cheap coffee on the fire stairs. You think you're late because the clock won't pause, but no one knows the future that we share. The city steals your sleep to pay for lights that never fade, while promises you made yourself get lost inside the trade. You pick your microphone and think the dream was just a phase, yet every quiet midnight track still burns across the haze. So leave the chorus playing through the doorway where we stand, because tomorrow isn't bought, it's crafted by your hand. Your digital sense is glowing on the desk, unsaved project files floating on the screen. You say you should have taken that bank job instead of chasing every wilder dream. I hand your jacket back and lock the door. You haven't lost a thing, you're just exhausted. We traded sleep for beats that didn't sell. We drank cheap coffee on the fire stairs. You think you're late because the clock won't pause, but no one knows the future that we share. City steals your sleep to pay for lights that never fade, while promises you made yourself get lost inside the trade. You pack your microphone and think the dream was just a phase, yet every quiet midnight track still burns across the haze. So leave the chorus playing through the doorway where we stand, because tomorrow isn't bought, it's crafted by your hand. Remember sitting on the curb at 3 a.m. We promised we would never count the cost. Your voice is stronger than the noise outside, so find the rhythm that you thought was lost. The street below is turning quiet now. Just hit save and let the track play out. We will try again when daylight hits the glass. A bent paper clip rests on the laminate desk, catching the faint glare on my glowing screen. I count the demo tracks saved under random days, wondering if 19 was just a trial run. I tap my index finger on the quiet wood, listening to the beat looping inside my mind. Everyone my age is moving toward a title, building steady lives with guaranteed paychecks. I am still sitting here tweaking frequency knobs, hoping the baseline can pay off my rent next month. I trade a midnight sleep for 3 clean vocal takes, staring at concrete walls until the street lamps fade. My chest tightens whenever people ask my plan. Yeah, every muted chord holds what I really am. If I signed a lease on this small basement room, I am betting every dollar that I bloom. The paperclip rose slightly when my laptop fans hum a tiny piece of wire holding nothing at all. I delete 6 bars that felt too safe to sing, rebuilding from the bottom with a raw drum loop. My fingers remember where the chord changes go, even when my courage starts to slip away. Everyone my age is trading wrist for safety, posted shiny photos of their quiet wins. I am still sitting here staring at a blank grid, believing that my voice will carry through the dark. Trade a midnight sleep for 3 clean vocal takes, staring at concrete walls until the street lamps fade. My chest tightens whenever people ask my plan, yet every muted chord holds what I really am. If I signed a lease on the small basement room, I am betting every dollar that I bloom. No safety net is hanging underneath my feet, just late night coffee rings and unfinished beats. I could walk away and take the easy road, but I would hate the silence in my future home. The paperclip stays still beside my interface. I press space bar and let the chorus play again. I am nowhere near where I wanna be, but I am fighting for the dream in front of me. As I picture us 6 winters ahead, soft linen resting right on my shoulder. No more late shifts or cold instant bread. We will sign for the lease in the city, with our names printed in clean dark ink. Every hour spent grinding in the basement studio turns to gold dust floating across our living room. I can see 2 coffee mugs sitting on the counter, all the old doubts swept away with a broom. We step through glass gates into downtown chill, holding signed contracts that hard labor paid to fill. From quiet basement tapes toward a stadium crowd tonight, every dark footprint comes alive in golden light. I hand you brass keys for this high floor, leaving broken promises behind the heavy door. You will lean out on the marble balcony, watching elevated transit trains pass by, remembering nights when we split one soda underneath the gray polluted city sky. Now the espresso drips rich in the kitchen, and the stereo plays a velvet bass groove. Every hour spent grinding in the basement studio turns to gold dust floating across our living room. I can see 2 coffee mugs sitting on the counter, all the old doubts swept away with a glass gates stadium crowd tonight. Every dark footprint comes alive in golden light. I hand you brass keys for this high floor, leaving broken promises behind the heavy door. It is not a random dream inside a notebook. It is 33 floors above the concrete street where the syncopated rhythm of our 20s finally finds a resting place complete. The green digital clock ticks over to 4:10. I close my eyes and breathe the visual in. We are almost there already. We are standing at the top. Thick ribbed wool scratches against my collarbone while I pull the sleeve down over my wrist. Suddenly I am 19 again in a cold garage, blowing hot breath in the hands that refuse to quit. We had a beat playing off a broken tablet screen, chasing the sound that nobody else could hear. The thread is pulled, the years roll back in silence, finding the kid who swore he would change the world. We traded sleep for cheap speakers in an attic space, writing late night anthems till the power cut out. Every setback felt like proof we belonged inside this race, holding on to promises when everyone began to doubt. Now the velvet spotlight finds where I am standing, remembering the rough scene that held the dream together. Scratchy acrylic blends on cheap thrift store coats kept us warm through midnight walks downtown. You said 3 hits on a synth could pay our rent, laughing on concrete while snow was coming down. I still wear the same habit of rolling up the hem. The fabric fades but the feeling stays untouched, tracing the line where the young heart used to burn. We traded sleep for cheap speakers in an attic space, writing late night anthems till the power cut out. Every setback felt like proof we belonged inside this race, holding on to promises when everyone began to doubt. Now the velvet spotlight finds where I'm standing, remembering the rough scene that held the dream together. Touch the sleeve and hear the bass line drop again. We were foolish, broken, dangerously free. Every stitch remembers what we bargained and turned no cheap cloth into who we grew to be. Smooth down the cuff and take the stage tonight. The texture stays the same under bright studio. Inside the weed, we never really left what we used to believe. Yesterday you told me 23 was meant for making mistakes. A chip porcelain cup sits soaking in the sink. The green LED on the speaker keeps blinking in the dark. Cheap neon light leaks through the window blind. Half a butter toast is waiting on the desk. We keep counting small wins on our scraped up knees. Scratch final turns quietly upon the deck. Cold coffee rings circle on the wooden table. We count the hours left before the morning shifts, still holding on to promises we made last year. Late night static plays a beat across the bedroom wall. Heavy bass resonance shakes the picture in the hall. Staring at a high ceiling till darkness turns to gray. Chasing every wild vision before it slips away. We traded steady paychecks for a chance to fly, riding down our future under an electric sky. Blue bus pass tucked inside a frayed leather wallet. A sticker on the laptop says we made it this far. You warm up, leftover soup at midnight on the stove. Cold draft blowing through the crack in the door. 3 dry erase markers, draw maps on the glass. Every little quiet detail leading to the light. Scratch final turns quietly upon the deck. Cold coffee rings circle on the wooden table. We count the hours left before the morning shifts, still holding on to promises we made last year. Late night static plays a beat across the bedroom wall. Heavy bass resonance shakes the picture in the hall. Staring at a high ceiling till darkness turns to gray. Amber neon spills across your shoes while we sit by the vending machine. You ask me why I'm staring at the street lights turn to cyan green. I tell you I've been chasing something bigger than this quiet town. You pull a dented coin out of your pocket, toss it up and down. You say the glare is blinding if you look too close into the glow. We both got somewhere else we're trying to go. You tell me 23 is just a waiting room for who we become. I watch the traffic flicker red and white until my legs go numb. We are two shadows trading secrets on a bench that isn't ours. Counting down the minutes while the night shifts through the hours. Dark indigo light fades the station glass. You said your freedom comes when memories pass. A stranger's wisdom cuts right through my doubt. We trade brief promises before engines fade out. The soda can roll slow across the dark concrete. You laugh and tell me how you quit your corporate desk last week. I show you rough designs I drew inside my phone. We're both afraid of building lives completely on our own. You pull your coat up tight against the rising breeze. Sometimes a stranger gives the answers that you need. rushing down the street. Two strangers sharing truths because we'll never meet again. Finding courage at the spot where all our fears begin. Dark indigo light bathes the station glass. You say true freedom comes when memories pass. A stranger's wisdom cuts right through my doubt. We trade brief promises before engines fade out. Your bus approaches now as halogen headlamps shine wide. You stand up slowly asking if I'm coming along inside. I shake my head and smile because my path is somewhere else tonight. You're not a silent understanding in the fading street lamp bright. Two hungry dreamers walking different routes to find their way. The amber glow dissolves into the chill of 3 a.m. Step into the quiet road, ready to start again. No names exchanged, just fire left behind. A stranger's voice echoing inside my mind. The weight of the chair presses deep into the linoleum floor. You sit with your shoulders pinned back against the bedroom door. 17 years old, staring at the muted white screen, wondering if anybody sees the things you have seen. I write this down tonight so you can put the pen away. You do not have to carry every debt you cannot pay. You thought the quiet meant you were falling behind. You thought a delayed start was a sign of a broken mind. I wish I could reach through the static on the track to tell you that the future never looks back. You signed your name in pencil on the margin of the stage, terrified that missing one deadline would lock you in a cage. But 8 years later, the spotlight finally hit the room, and all those sleepless midnight shifts turned into full bloom. So breathe easy, kid. The song you wrote survived the dark. Remember how you threw out every draft that felt too slow. You thought the talent had a hit before the winter snow. Your hands were shaking when you turned the demo volume low, hiding all your passion like a ghost you could not show. I still wear the jacket with the torn right sleeve. You taught me how to stay when everyone advised to leave. In pencil on the margin of the stage, terrified that missing one deadline would lock you in a cage. But 8 years later, the spotlight finally hit the room, and all those sleepless midnight shifts turned into full bloom. So breathe easy, kid. The song you wrote survived the dark. The desk was small, but your vision stretched across the bay. Every hour spent alone built the road I walked today. You were brave enough to fail where nobody saw the spark. Leaving trail markers through the cold and heavy dark. Rest your head on the wooden desk tonight. We made it through to the other side of the light. Unplug the amp before you sleep. The promises you made are ones I keep. Yeah. throat when the train stops. My thumbs keep scrolling past blue screens of people making promises. I count 3 streetlight shadows stretching over my damn shoes. Someone left a glowing tablet on the bench with the screen cracked. I wonder if we ever really wanted what we chased last winter, or if we just like the sound of running through the cold. Static hums inside my silver headphones. The bassline loops a rhythm I forgot I knew. My mind jumps from 5 years ahead to 10 minutes ago. I traded quiet hours for a vision sketched upon a damp jacket, standing beneath dark elevator rails to escape the city racket. Silver bullet train slides freezing air without asking who belongs. So trace every crooked edge of ambition inside these restless songs. We constructed glass towers out of thin dust and named it future, hoping the neon glare would heal every hidden cut like a silk suture. My reflection in the wet asphalt bends like melted plastic. My mother called at 9 to ask if I eat enough greens. I lied and said the studio pays enough for proper groceries. My left wrist throbs, I'm holding the microphone angle too long. Is this what being hungry feels like when you're almost famous? Or just the quiet panic of a kid who refuses to turn around? Static hums inside my silver headphones. The bassline loops a rhythm I forgot I knew. My mind jumps from 5 years ahead to 10 minutes ago. I traded quiet hours for a vision sketched upon a damp jacket, standing beneath dark elevator rails to escape the city racket. Silver bullet train slides freezing air without asking who belongs. So trace every crooked edge of ambition inside these restless songs. We constructed glass towers out of thin dust and named it future, hoping the neon glare would heal every hidden cut like a silk suture. Thoughts overlap like frequency waves on an untuned radio frequency. The heavy pulse in my chest proves I remain alive past midnight. Maybe the dream isn't a destination at the end of the line, just having the nerve to stay awake while everyone else sleeps through the drop. Walking past the convenience store with glowing red letters. Steam rises from the storm drain in soft white plumes. I still don't know where this track goes. I just know my fingers aren't cold anymore. Sudden memory cuts the quiet room, a cold reminder that we turned 23 in June. The screen projector hums against the wall, dust most floating where the shadows fall. You freeze mid-breath while staring at your phone, realizing every path we chase is walked alone. The city grid glows pastel green outside to muted screens where all our hopes reside. We trade our sleep for promises in code, watching the red lights line the county road. Glass pastel was captured moonlight while the soundboard glows. We trace the blueprints where a quiet dream still grows. A silver cable connects the mic inside the booth, recording every fragile secret from our restless youth. When midnight shifts to dawn, we step into the street, leaving the quiet pavement beneath our racing feet. Your digital past shows 40 rejected tracks. We lean our elbows on the speaker stacks. The bass synth pulses like a muted heart, scared of the finish line before we start. You whisper numbers that we need to pay, then wipe the dust and hit record anyway. A neon sign reflects across your eyes. We trade our fears for cold electric skies. No safety net beneath these high-rise beams, just heavy beats and heavy-hearted dreams. The studio door clicks shut against the cold. We hold a future that is ours to mold. Static fades out into the morning air, leaving our shadows on the concrete stair. Yeah. Burn espresso and wet pine drift down the landing, where Marcus tunes a guitar that lacks a chord. His sister stacks the vinyl by the counter, counting quarters from the wooden shadow box. They talk and whisper so the landlord doesn't listen, plotting how to leave this 30-meter block. She draws a map across a dusty window pane. He hits a snare drum sample on his phone. The city promise glimmers through the autumn rain, a quiet hunger keeping them awake alone. They trade their sleep for silver audio files, crossing gray like bridges in the amber dark. A single demo carrying them 30 miles to turn a small studio into a spark. When midnight closes every open floor, their heavy footsteps break through the wooden door. She wears an oversized jacket with a torn seam, looping vocals on a battered tablet screen. He sells a synth pedal just to pay the rent, wondering where all the golden hours went. Neither turns around when the last bus slows, following the rhythm only youth knows. She draws a map across a dusty window pane. He hits a snare drum sample on his phone. The city promise glimmers through the autumn rain, a quiet hunger keeping them awake alone. They trade their sleep for silver audio files, crossing gray like bridges in the amber dark. A single demo carrying them 30 miles to turn a small studio into a spark. When midnight closes every open floor, their heavy footsteps break through the wooden door. The mixing board glows neon green and two, fixing every frequency until the sound feels true. Two shadows standing on a soundproof floor, refusing to settle for anything less than more. The city skyline dims against the rising haze. Two kids with visions fading into future days. Marcus packs the cables into black nylon bags as the subway train rolls in under winter flags. Skateboard wheels rattle over the sidewalk pavement below. You sit on the fire escape, staring at the neon sign glow. The bass from a passing taxi shakes the glass frame. You whisper that you're tired of running in the same game. I pass you the cold drink from the corner shop shelf. You always talk down when you're talking to yourself. The city never waits for anybody to feel brave. We spent 3 winters swimming in the same tidal wave. You got the talent in your fingertips. I know the truth, don't let them take the fire out of your youth. Pack the one studio mic inside your heavy duffel bag. Sign the lease before your early courage starts to lag. We traded midnight sleep for peace that made small speaker shake. Now you gotta claim the vow we promised not to break. Step off the curb into those amber signals shining clear. Live every single story that you buried out of fear. Remember when we recorded vocals inside your closet door? A blanket draped over chairs stretched across the floor. You swore that by 25 we'd hear our song on the radio. Now you're staring at application forms, ready to let it go. I won't let you sell that keyboard for rent this month. We can split the cost like we did back in month 1. The city never waits for anybody to feel brave. We spent 3 winters swimming in the same tidal wave. You got the talent in your fingertips. I know the truth, don't let them take the fire out of your youth. Pack the one studio mic inside your heavy duffel bag. Sign the lease before your early courage starts to lag. We traded midnight sleep for peace that made small speakers shake. Now you gotta claim the vow we promised not to break. Step off the curb into those amber signals shining clear. Live every single story that you buried out of fear. The night moves fast along these late night routes. I see your shadow tangled up in second thoughts and doubts. If you jump tonight, I promise I am standing right behind. We didn't come this far to lose our mind. Put your jacket on, let's take a walk. No more second guessing, no more talk. The amber signal turns to green. You know exactly what I mean. Red masking tape holds this chip flash drive together. It sits beside a mug that lost its warmth an hour ago. 12 unreleased tracks saved under names I cannot speak out loud. I count the beat markers while my hands stay frozen on the desk. Everyone my age is signing leases in the north side tower. I am still chasing chords that turn my dark room bright. My father asked if I had backup plans for June. I lied and told him that the check was in the mail. The bass and hums a low frequency through my chest. I close my eyes and let the rhythm take the blame. I traded sleep to carve a verse that feels honest and deep, then spend my last $60 before the contract could leak. The elevated train hums low against my window pane, while every doubt kept inside dissolves beneath the baseline strain. Pushing the fader higher till wooden floorboards shake, standing right on the edge of every risk I dare to take. My mother left her missed calls on my lock display. She thinks I work a desk job on the 14th floor. My fingers trace the volume now, turning up the snare. There is a version of my future that is standing right there. It wears no suit, it carries no briefcase to the train. It only lives inside the speakers when I feel no pain. The screen glare paints my knuckles in a faded teal. My head hurts from the high frequencies in my ears. I know the sound is the only thing I have that is real. I wash my face and flush away 7 years of fears. I traded sleep to carve a verse that feels honest and deep, and spend my last $60 before the contract could leak. The elevated train hums slow against my window pane, while every doubt kept inside dissolves beneath the baseline strain. Pushing the fader higher till wooden floorboards shake, standing right on the edge of every risk I dare to take. They said 25 is when you give up on the dream. They told me practical choices build a quiet life. But when the synth swells up, I hear a different stream. I'm not built to surrender to the edge of the night. Red masking tape on the chip silver drive. 5 minutes of audio keeping me alive. I press play again. The bass drops. Draw another breath in this tiny rented hall. My hands are cold from typing out another draft, counting down the months until we look back and laugh. I sketched the skyline we will conquer in 8 years, trading in these cheap instant noodles for quiet cheers. The bass in my chest keeps time with the glow. We got a long way to climb from this basement below. Close your tired eyes, picture how it feels when every promise we made turns real. We will stand upon a high glass terrace late at night, watching purple city shadows dance in silver light, holding golden bars, tickets that I sweat paid for, stepping past the heavy velvet polished oak door, knowing all those sleepless hours built a solid floor. Screen dims while the city lies asleep. I store every vision in a vault I intend to keep. You will wear that silk suit, I will drop the freight shoes. We will never worry about the power bills due. We will order room service at 5 in the afternoon, singing modern soul beneath the glowing harvest moon. Right now the air is chilled and the quiet feels heavy. My ambition is a river bursting through a weak levee. I can see our future self looking back at this desk, smiling at the kid who never took a single rest. Just a few more years until we step into our day. Keep the vision clear inside your head. We are building everything we said. coarse brush, cotton scrapes my thumb inside this coat pocket. I pull out a crumpled transit pass from 7 years back. The ripped velvet lining feels worn down to thin gray thread. Back when we slept on studio couches in the dark, trading audio files over static before the city moved. My fingers traced the color where we patched the tear. The cold wind outside, the maglev window cuts right through. I still hear your voice echoing past midnight. We mark concrete landings using silver permanent ink, hunting futuristic frequencies through shattered headphones. Oh, autumn leaves pile high while cold tea turn bitter on amp tops. Pledging every pace stub toward demo tape sync. Smooth synthetic silk glides along my wrist today. I wear tailored suits to pitch meetings on the highest floor. Yet the scratchy thrifted blend carries every dream we built. Sitting on damn fire escapes, talking about our future sound. My fingers trace the color where we patched the tear. The cold wind outside, the maglev window cuts right through. I still hear your voice echoing past midnight. We mark concrete landings using silver permanent ink, hunting futuristic frequencies through shattered headphones. Oh, autumn leaves pile high while cold tea turn bitter on amp tops. Pledging every pace stub toward demo tape sync. Youth does not dissolve when the fabric grows thin. It stays trapped inside the seams of who we used to be. I grip the frayed sleeve tightly as the high speed rail slows down. Rough woven threads under my palm. The train doors open wide, but I am still 19, holding on to the cloth that carried us here. Yesterday you said my jacket smelled like grease and rainy asphalt. I watched a neon diner sign flicker out across the avenue. A half-empty mug sat on the nightstand beside a stack of unpaid bills. One silver dime rolled into the corner beneath the radiator coils. My thumb pressed against the smudged glass of my phone screen. We keep leaving the front door unlocked just in case luck walks through. A yellow bus kicks up wet dust at the crosswalk. I count 3 blue light bulbs burning in the dark corridor. Every small detail feels like a milestone waiting to break. We traded copper coins for midnight fare to chase a promise made in June, and mapped a future on a napkin edge beneath the temporary moon. The city swallowed up our quiet fears, while steady traffic rolled along. So now we hum a simple line that turns the dark space into song. A scratched plastic card scraped ice off the kitchen window pane. Your mismatched socks were drying on the back of a wooden chair. Someone dropped a glass bottle on the sidewalk 3 floors down. I piece of this place, holds a piece of where we go. We traded copper coins for midnight fare to chase a promise made in June. Not the future on a napkin edge, beneath the temporary moon. The city swallowed up her quiet fears, while steady traffic rolled along. So now we hum a simple line that turns the dark space into song. 4 cheap plastic chairs on the fire escape overlook the gritty cold breeze blows an old flyer down the alley where we stood. We are 20-something dreamers, counting red lights down the street. Nothing in these hands yet, but the rhythm stays complete. Your laugh echoed off the tiled hallway wall yesterday. One silver coin sits on the windowsill. The door stays unlocked. We keep moving. Valley Mercury light stains a concrete curve where stranger leans back without saying a word. He blows a cloud of steam into the chilly air, adjusts his coat and asks why I'm sitting there. I tell him I've been chasing something I can't name, scared I'll spend my 20s running in place. He laughs softly, passes over a warm paper cup, says the hardest part is knowing when to stand up. The city humming beneath the quiet shoes. A stranger tells a kid what he used to lose. You trade your comfortable hours for a chance to fly, leaving every safety net beneath the changing sky. When fear settles deep, you gotta push through the dark. Catching fire from a single fragile spark. Prismatic sodium glaze the station glass as he tells me how the golden years pass fast. He had a trumpet in a case 20 years ago, gave it up for rent, let the rhythm go. Now he sees that fire burning in my eyes, tells me not to trade my passion for compromise. The city humming beneath our quiet shoes. A stranger tells a kid what he used to lose. You trade your comfortable hours for a chance to fly, leaving every safety net beneath the changing sky. When fear settles deep, you gotta push through the dark. Catching fire from a single fragile spark. The scheduled train rattles down the elevator line. He stands up slow and checks his wrist for the time. He says, don't let the cold world make you freeze. Dreams don't belong to the people living at ease. Indigo shadows stretch out down the street. I pick up my bag and get back on my feet. 20 minutes left till the early rouse starts, carrying his wisdom in my heavy heart. heavy steel hydraulic cylinder drops 2 inches down. Whenever you sit down to track another midnight demo sound. 18 years old, pressing heels against the plastic wheels, trying to figure out how making something real feels. You think this cheap for leather seals are your heaviest doubts, counting every single candle till the candle burns out. I see you hunching over digital pads, fighting the silence that your parents had. If I could reach through the hologram glass, I'd tell you every hard night is gonna pass. Unclench your jaw and let the bassline breathe inside your chest. The demo tapes you scrap back on will pave the way to rest. That worn out desk where you spent winters broken, feeling small, becomes the foundation that eventually holds us through it all. You never missed the mark, you just were early to the light. So put the pencil down and leave the neon blue strip bright. I know your back hurts from the way you slouch into the phone. You built a kingdom in a 12 by 12 apartment room home. You keep on checking stats like validation fills the bowl, trading 4 hours of sleep just to protect your soul. The bass speaker rattles against the lower wooden shelf. I wish you were a little kinder to your younger self. We made it out of that damn basement flat, got the keys to the room where the big boss is sat. Yeah, whenever I sit in a soft leather chair, I still feel the weight of you waiting right there. Lean back in a swivel bass, give yourself a little grace. The track is finished now, you made it through somehow. What if the ceiling knows everything I am hiding tonight? The glowing LED strips pulse slow until an indigo light. I count 30 seconds between my heartbeat and the synth beat. My sneakers are soaked from crossing the midnight street. Am I running towards something real or just running out of breath? I saved 6 drafts of a message I will never send. Digital neon flickers off the wet pavement below. My screen tells me I should be sleeping 2 hours ago. I feel 24 and 85 at the exact same time, trying to build an empire out of rhythm and rhyme. I traded 8 hours of sleep to rewrite a broken verse, chasing a ghost through a city that moves in reverse. When the neon fades out, I still hold the mic in my hand, carving a future out of dust that won't stay in the sand. We were promised the stars, but we settle for glowing displays, finding our freedom inside of these endless fluorescent mazes. If I lose this ambition, do I just become a ghost? I buy synthetic coffee from the vendor I like the most. My friend called from Tokyo asking if I made it big yet. I lied and said I was famous inside of my own headset. Thoughts tangle like fiber optic wires behind a TV stand. I drift from thought to thought without a master plan. Is it crazy to think that the universe listens to bass? I leave my footprints on carpet inside or in space. Tomorrow has no promises, just an alarm set for 7. I am floating somewhere between my apartment and heaven. Does anyone ever really figure this out? The track fades down while my mind turns up the volume. I leave the recording running on repeat, still asking questions into the empty. empty street. Silence in the hallway breaks when the memory strikes. The bass guitar rests cold against the painted drywall. Dust motes drift across the muted neon screen. My fingers hover near the keys, hesitating. I count the bills folded inside my jacket pocket. We promised we would make it out before 25. Screen glows green as the audio track renders. Your head nods slow to the bassline resonance. We count the hours before the city wakes up. High above asphalt, urban traffic begins humming. Young dreamers trade rest to forge tomorrow's legacy. Pouring last pennies into late night strumming. Stepping past fear towards stages burning bright. Every quiet sacrifice yields golden height. Trickles down the glass window pane. You lean against the mixing console, eyes half closed. The demo loop repeats on 20% volume. We spend our rent money on a secondhand synth. Nobody knows our names on this block yet. Still, the beat feels like a heart beating fast. Screen glows green as the audio track renders. Your head nods slow to the bassline resonance. We count the hours before the city wakes up. High above asphalt, urban traffic begins humming. Young dreamers trade rest to forge tomorrow's legacy. Pouring last pennies into late night strumming. Stepping past fear towards stages burning bright. Every quiet sacrifice yields golden height. Empty coffee cups line the soundproof walls. Every doubt in my mind tries to pull us back down. But when the synth swells, the ceiling vanishes. We are standing right on the edge of everything. The track fades out slowly. 4 o'clock metro train rolls past below. One light stays on in the attic window. We keep playing. Sing vanilla floats across the alleyway, where she stacks the crates until her knuckles freeze. A bass line rattles from a passing gray sedan. She sings the pitches that her heart can barely keep. Her thumb is hovering above a green send button. 6 months of savings sitting in a pocket pitch. The city clock reads 3:15. She wipes the sweat off chrome and steel. The future isn't what it seemed, but this is real. It's what she feels. She steps into the mist with heavy beat-up shoes, to trade a quiet shh for everything she might lose. The glowing screen reflects the hunger in her eyes. 40,000 listeners watch the digital rise. She leaves the kitchen grease behind without a trace. Her brother waits beside the neon subway stairs. He brings a thermos filled with lukewarm ginger tea. They share a silent look that speaks of unpaid rent and promises they made back home at 17. She slides the headphones on his tired ears to play the chorus that will change the way they live today. The city clock wipes the sweat off chrome and steel. The future isn't what it seemed, but this is real. It's what she feels. She steps into the mist with heavy beat-up shoes to trade a quiet shifts for everything she might lose. The glowing screen reflects the hunger in her eyes. 40,000 dissonance, watch the digital rise. She's the kitchen grease behind without a tray. No silver spoon was handed to a family line, just stubborn blood that turns a struggle into gold. She hits the play switch on the main stage timeline and lets the sudden bass line take control. The smell of sugar slowly fades into the damp. Her name is lit under a broken street lamp. She walks ahead and never once looks back again. The future starts right here where hard nights end. Arrested delivery truck hits the Iron Man hole cover hard. The metal clatters through the glass and echoes in our tiny yard. You sit on the edge of the mattress with your sneakers still laced tight, staring at the unfinished project on your screen into the night. I know you are counting down the months until your real life starts. Tired of working double shifts to buy cheap studio parts. You do not have to carry every heavy burden on your own. We carved a kingdom out of folding chairs and broken telephone tones. Just close the laptop lid and let your shoulders drop a while. The subway rattles underneath the pavement while we chase a higher frame. You trade your quiet sleeping hours to build a legacy without a shame. I watch you chase the neon lights that flicker past the corner grocery store, and every single line you write brings us much closer to the open door. Remember when we crammed 4 dreamers in a 2-bed basement flat? We swore that by 25 we would be way past all of that. Now the coffee is lukewarm inside a paper gas station cup, and you are still tweaking vocal takes before the street wakes up. I see the way your posture sinks when another phone call goes cold, but real vision needs some time before the entire story gets told. You do not have to carry every heavy burden on your own. We carved a kingdom out of folding chairs and broken telephone tones. Just close the laptop lid and let your shoulders drop a while. The subway rattles underneath the pavement while we chase a higher frame. You trade your quiet sleeping hours to build a legacy without a shame. I watch you trace the neon lights that flicker past the corner grocery store, and every single line you write brings us much closer to the open door. Drop the hesitation on the floorboards, let the low and fill the space. We came too far from back porch talks to back down from this race. Look at me and hear me clear, because your talent isn't small. We are gonna cut the noise and take the headline after all. The street outside is finally settling into a muted hum. Put the pen down for the night, my friend. We start again tomorrow. This blue plastic cart with a peeling edge rests on the table beside my phone. I count up the balance I saved this month. Still short on the rent for a place of my own. My thumb traces over the faded print, wondering how far 40 cents can stretch. My friends are all talking about 10-year plans while I try to figure out Tuesday night. The city keeps humming outside my glass, and I keep chasing this flickering light. I tap through the turnstile while skyline towers grew, trading my midnight hours for a vision that felt true. The bass in my chest was the only proof I had, walking past windows where rich kids look so sad. I swore every silver line would pay for what I lost and prove that a heavy heart was worth the ticket cost. My coat still smells like the diner grill. The bass line I recorded is stuck on loop. 10,000 hours ain't a myth to me. It's burning my throat like lukewarm soup. I stare at my hands in the LED glare. They don't look tired, they look ready to build. Nobody hands you a blueprint when you start at 22. You just swallow the fear and you lace your shoes. The clock on the microwave ticks real slow, and every small step is a long way to go. I pick up the card from the scratched pine board, sliding it deep in my diamond bed. Tomorrow at 6 I will try again, with a song in my lungs.